Hi everybody, and welcome to us here at Norway House. Kari, Tauring, and I, Carol Sersland, have created or choreographed a dance called Folklore Gangar 21 for you all to dance alone together. The alone part is in your home by yourself. Together is alone together with other people in your pod, and also alone together with us here on Zoom. Yes. So the dance is based on a Telegangar, which is from Telemark, Norway, here in southern Norway. There's also an exhibit here at Norway House about a family from Telemark who had immigrated to the United States. And so Gangar is meaning in dialect in Telemark means to go or to walk. So å gange, I'm going to walk. So if I ask Kari, hey, you want to go? Then I would ask her, skal vi gange?
Ja, vi skal gå.
Yes. Or, which we like to do in the wintertime, I would ask Kari, oh, do you want to go skiing? Skal vi gange på ski? Should we go on our skis? Should we walk on our skis? So that's the context of the dance. And once you start dancing, you will see about the walking and the going. Telegangar is a dance style from rural Telemark that is originally danced by a couple, and the couple has a number of maneuvers or moves that they do together spontaneously or improvise, and we're taking those moves and putting it into Folklore Gangar 21. So you'll be doing some of the same moves that you would be doing in Telegangar. And the dance is danced to hardanger fiddle music or hardingfele music, and it is in 2/4 time. And I think you can dance it in a small space or a bigger space. We have a really nice space here at Norway House and a very lovely smooth floor. But you have carpeting. You can adapt Folklore Gangar to your space and to your conditions and to whatever shoes. Maybe you have your slippers on in your pajamas. So you can adapt it to that and just do this dance alone together with us. So I think Kari looks ready to put some music on. So let's get warmed up and show you the gangar, the basic gangar step, and we'll get going on that. So let's go. I'd like to start with the dance step for gangar, and I'm going to demonstrate it without music to begin with. I just want you to know the scarf is not a part of my costume, but it's actually, well, it is for the dance teaching, and it's that all of the segments of Folklore Gangar 21, they start with the left foot. So when you're watching by video or film, it's easier to tell which is my left foot from my right. That's what I'm starting with. So the basic step Gangar, I mentioned that it's like walking, but of course we're dance walking. And then we're going around. We'll find a place on the floor if you have a place that you can find, or put maybe a trivet or something on your floor at home so that you have a center that you're going around clockwise. In the old dance instructions, they say mot sol, against the sun, is how we're going. Another way of walking is by putting your whole foot on the floor. And I'm going to ask Kari to cue up the music, and she's going to come and try it out with me too. So you see we can be in a very small space here. So you're just walking, so you don't have to be worried about having a nice floor. So, thank you, Kari. Cue the music, Kari. So you can dance this dance in a big our knees, getting a little bounce in our knees and our ankles. What we'd like to accomplish with this dance and getting together with you is getting people up and moving to the music. With the moving to the music is that bending the knees and the ankles and getting what we call in Norwegian dance instruction svikt, which I refer to as the wave. So if you watch my head, you can see the amplitude or the wave going up and down. Some people refer to that svikt as a bounce, which there is a bounce, but I think it's smoother in Gangar. So if you can soften your knees and soften your ankles and get some of that motion, and then also your body is over your feet and you have a nice wide chest as you're approaching the world and approaching the dance. And so there's a little bit of elegance and there's a little bit of pride as you're dancing Telegangar. But to just get up and move to that music. What I'd like to do is show the entire Folklore Gangar 21 so that you see what we're going for. So Kari, if you could play the music and join me. There's a little bit of an uppslag or upbeat, and then the dance starts left. So Kari's going to join me. Entire dance. It goes 2 times through, the music changes from the first half to the second half, and that is also the beauty of this dance in relationship to the music, and we'll talk more about that as we go through the lesson.
So this is a photo of Carol Sersland's father, Harald's fiddle, and this book is about Olaf Helland, who made that fiddle. The hardanger fiddle is the Norwegian national instrument. It's absolutely and utterly Norwegian. And I have with me a fiddle that was actually made by a Danish man who, Hans Nielsen, who came here from Denmark in 1951. And he was a woodworker, and as he was in his little bit older years, he decided he wanted to make some instruments. And of course, the challenge of making one of these beautiful instruments was so appealing to him. One of the things that makes it unique, of course, is the ornamentation, the stylized head, the dragon's head. Sometimes it's a dragon, sometimes it's a horse. He's got a little leather tongue sticking out. But you'll also notice that there are many more pegs than in a flat fiddle or a traditional regular old violin. And that is because the hardanger fiddle has these strings that are underneath the fingerboard, that run all the way underneath, that are not bowed or touched except for when we're trying to tune it. And these strings actually are supposed to be tuned to dee, 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 which you might recognize from Grieg. Doo, 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 doo. And that actually came from underneath the hardanger fiddle, these traditional tuned strings. And when you tune them correctly to the top strings, they are sympathetic and they vibrate and they create this incredible undertone that fills the space with this extra sound. That is one of the reasons why it doesn't come through on Zoom, because Zoom thinks all of that undertone must be excess noise and cuts it right out. So but that is what gives the hardanger fiddle its really sort of trance-inducing sound. So if hardingfele or hardanger fiddle is new to you, we would like to encourage you to just listen to some of these tunes. Listen to this tune particularly. The tune we're using is called Tussen i Buchmannhaugen. Tussen. And a tusse is a land spirit. And we can talk a little bit more about that in our next segment. Let's get back to dancing.
We've been moving to the music with our gangar step. And what I'd like to do next is add the twirl. And the twirl comes in the middle of the dance as we're going along. We're going to go 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that is our twirl. I think the twirl can be as fast or as easy as you want to make it, depending on your comfortableness with twirling and getting dizzy. But also, it doesn't need, because we're still doing the same steps. But we're going to start left on the twirl. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's try that with the music. Kari's going to cue it up from the beginning with the little Uppslag. We're going to walk 8, and then twirl for 8, walk 8, and twirl for 8. So let's give it a try. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that is our twirl. And so that is, I don't know if it's like 2 turns in 8 beats. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you can get it up to 4 twirls in 8 beats. But that is, and twirling is a very elemental part of gangar. Another maneuver in the dance, Folklore Gangar 21, is the cross step. And we will be doing the cross step first facing into the circle, and then we'll be doing it out of the circle. And the basic idea of the cross step is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the idea being is that we keep our motion in the circle around. You could also do it in a line. So, but we are going to do just a little bit of pivoting to get around in the circle. So we'll be going from the walking. So 1, 2, do da di da, di dum da di do da di dum da di da, and then 1 do di da di dum da di do, di dum da di do la di da ya di do. So that's our cross step facing into the circle, and then we're going to cross step by taking a short turn and going out of the circle. And so we're going to go over our right shoulder and clockwise, and dee dum da dee doo la dee dum da dee doo, dee dum da dee doo la dee dum da dee doo. So we'll do that for 8. But let's put music on and just follow along with me, and don't worry about turning back and forth. But we're going to go with the music and do the cross step facing in for maybe about 16, and then we'll flip counter or clockwise and face out for another 16 of cross steps. Little Uppslag. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The steps don't have to be big. They can be as comfortable as you want them to be. And we're just trying to get our movement around the circle. And you may have noticed that I use my arms quite a bit in this dance. And I think partly that's because I don't have a partner. I might be used to a partner. Partly also it helps me keep my balance. And I think also by using my arms, it gives me a little bit more attitude, connection to the music, and balance by using my arms rather than them being down here, which works too. But I think for our alone together version, it's nice to have our arms involved. So what I'd like to do is do 8 walking steps that we've been doing at the beginning, and then 8, and then we're going to do just a little quarter turn into the center so that we can start with a cross step. So your weight will be on your right, and then your right and face center, and then it will be 8, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we'll go to the outer of the circle. So again, just a little half turn. Step left, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then let's go back into walking. So a series of 8, 8, 8, 8. Forward step, cross step in, cross step out, and then 8 forward again. And Kari will cue it up to the beginning of the music. Crossover step that we'll be incorporating into the entire dance. There are 3 elements in our maneuvers that really make Gangar a dance rather than simply walking. And the first one I talked a little bit about was svikt, or the wave. So that we're not being so smooth with our wave, we're being up and down.
Like the landscape of Norway.
Yes.
Up and down.
Thank you, Kari. Yes. Telemark especially. So we have that wave that we're getting with that softness in our knees and our ankles. And then the second one is tyngde, and that's weight. And so that we're giving I think of weight also, the word I think of is heft, so that we're giving some weight and some solidity to the dance that we're doing. So it's not, again, it's not just walking, but it's, yeah, there's some, and the weight gets us down, and the down gets us up. So if you don't get down, you can't get up. So get down with that weight, that tyngde. And the third element in our maneuvers is kraft, or energy or power. And again, you know, without some kind of forward momentum and some power or energy, maybe not even power, but just some energy that we're thinking about and connecting with the music, so that the energy is between the music and you, the dance floor. Maybe there is another partner, like Kari might come out here and just suddenly dance.
And me?
With
I'm
that.
like, yes, licked, ting, crack,
Yes.
ting.
And now I have extra energy from that other person because we're dancing alone together. So those are the things I'll be talking about as we go through the different maneuvers in Folklore Gangar. There's some other pieces of the dance that really use tyngde and kraft.
So the tune, we're using this Tussen i Buchmannhaugen from this beautiful CD, which we'll go into even a little bit later. The first part of this tune talks about Tussen. So what exactly is a Tussen, or Tussen? And so I got my dictionary out, and I wanted to just talk about what that is. The Tuss is, in mythology, Tussen would be like another name for the giants that are usually at war with the gods and humans. In folklore, the Tuss is a spirit or sprite or pixie, they say. It is a spirit that is often in human shape that protects or brings fortune. And in the Haugen is the hill or the mound, and a Tuss that lives in a hill or in a mound is an underground spirit entity. And I found out through my research that it's most often a female spirit, which I think is kind of interesting. And that this tune is talking about the land spirit from the farm, Buchmann's farm, and the Haugen on the farm. So sometimes this land spirit might even be the first farmer on the land that stays alive in their barrow in order to keep an eye on future farmers and what they're up to with the land. Then there's a change in the tune that is Skjæringa på Tinn. And Tinn is a place in Telemark, and the Skjæringa is the sort of honored lady or the old lady or the wife, oftentimes, a endeared person. It was in old times an honoring term. So I would say, for my husband, I'm a skjær to him, and he's karl to me, that we are like very deeply in love with one another, even after all these years. But one of the things I found in my research of folk tunes and stories is that this skjæringa is also has magical potency. And There is a shedding that creates a horse from a man's bone. There's one that creates a baby out of a little colt. There's many spårskjæring tunes of prophecy women. So this is an interesting word as well within this context. So many of these hardingfele tunes are named for different things, like land spirits. There's even different tunings in the fiddle named for these different types of magical or nature mystical creatures. So there's huldrastilt, which is the hidden folk tuning. There is trollstilt, which is magical tuning. There's lots of different kinds of associations of this instrument with magic and land spiritual practices. And this is part of the reason why these particular fiddles were especially banned by the churches. And as the churches came in and just said, hey, we shouldn't be talking about earth as though it was a living entity, and that had spiritual potency. So they, at some points in history, burnt these fiddles and all other fiddles in the streets, made big bonfires of them, banned them, and at the same time, anyone with knowledge of runes and other old knowledge were also punished. So, the hardingfele became known as the devil's instrument through this practice of vilifying this spiritual potency. So when we talk about this svikt, tyngde, and kraft, that kraft is also shows up in lots of songs as the spiritual potency. For example, Villeman is the man with plays the runes, and he said it's utvinner kraftiga trollernes arm. He wins out the power of the water troll, or those kinds of things. So when we're dancing this Folklore Gangar 21, we will be dancing with the understanding of bringing this earth energy, this earth power up with us, and bringing it through the whole of the dance.
I encourage everyone to listen to the music and to see if you can hear those different motifs in the music, where it goes from what I refer to it as Tussen, and then starts with hardingfele, and then the second half goes into just a nice swirly hardanger fiddle piece. And I chose this music particularly because it was the one piece of Gangar that I found that was broken into those 8 bars. So that's what we'll be using to build the Folklore Gangar 21. What I'd like to try out is walking or stepping backwards and just doing some facing different directions. So taking 8, going forward. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then just turning and walking backwards. We have a little backwards stepping in the dance. So Kari's going to play some music for us, and what I'd like to do is structure it so that 8 forward, 8 backwards, and 8 forward, and 8 backwards with our music. Tussen, Buchmannhaugen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, Get us oriented in different directions and getting our stick on in a little bit different direction. And then we're going to go from the cross step into louse. And louse is a word for free or independent or loose. And that is a very wonderful part of the couple dance. In our dance, we're going to be using the center of our dance. I mean, you could put your speaker down there. A lot of times we dance around the fiddler who's playing, whatever kinds of dancing that we're doing, so it's easier to hear. It's a nice connection with the musician. But with louse, we're going to be, so maybe we've been dancing a little bit farther out from the center. I also think sometimes, like, oh, I've got a little tree stump there that I'm going to be going around. So with louse, I'm going to pull it in to the center a bit, starting left again, and also using my arms in a bit of more of a, special position here. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I want to change directions to go back the other way. I've been going counterclockwise. To go clockwise, I'm stepping on my right and then left, clockwise back over my right shoulder, right, 4, 6, 7, 8. So we're doing 8. Let me try that again, just counting it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One more time. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's try 3 louse, the different directions, counterclockwise, clockwise, counterclockwise, but starting 8 from the beginning of the music by walking, the stepping forward. Come on, step. Ready? No, I. 1, 2. Now loud. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the other way. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So for the turning around in the louse, it's not a quick turn. We're just doing our same swift and using our soft knees and ankles to get us around and going the other way. So there. Let's go back and start with our stepping forward and going into a twirl, forward, twirl, and then cross step. So let's put some of these pieces together that we have so far. And I will count it, and it will be 8. So walk 8, twirl for 8, walk 8, twirl for 8, walk 8, and then go into the cross step. Okay, here we go. Beginning of the music. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, twirl. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, twirl. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and walk. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and crossover. 6, cross out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Thank you. So there we get a little practice with the different maneuvers in the dance. One of the other maneuvers in the dance is a backward step lift. And here's where our svikt and our tyngde really are going to come in handy. And it is a backward step lift where we're going to be stepping left and lift right, step right, left, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. I'll do it backwards and towards the camera just so you can see it from that angle. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 8. So it'll do it in 8s again. So it'll be step left, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's try that with music 2 times through, 8, 8, with music, stepping in a line. Okay, backwards step left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's our classic need to go down to get up, because we are going to go down on our left, and we're going to have our weight shift and our weight change and balancing on our left, so we can lift the right, and then stepping right, weight goes onto our right, so we can lift left. 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and that's where again we want to go. We're going down, so we're lifting that left, so we get a dynamic and a spick and a wave in there, much like cross-country skiing. When you're skiing, so you're having to go down to get forward. Here we're going down to get backward, which is forward in this part of the dance. So back, 2. So let's try that one more time with the music, and then we'll add a little bit more to get us around in our counterclockwise circle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. Hope that's going okay. And then we're going to add just a little bit more. In essence, it's a little pivot when we're going down. So we go down on our left, lift right, and then we're going to step just a little bit in the line of direction of the circle. Down, lift right, step straight, down, lift, lift, lift. And you can see especially that, again, for this one, I think it's especially important for you to use your whole body, including your arms, because you're going to get much better balance by, I think you're also going to get that uplift by using your arms and get better balance so that you can balance on that one foot. To get into that maneuver, the backward step lift, we are going to be walking backwards for 4 in the dance as we put it together. So therefore it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'd like to try that with the music. So backwards, 4 steps, which we had been doing previously. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and so forth, 5, 6, 7, 8, twice through. Okay, Kari's going to cue the music. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, step, lift, step, lift, step, lift, step, lift, step, lift, step, step, lift, step, step, lift. Okay, and then I'd like to see how Kari, will you join us?
Sure.
Okay, so we are going to, she'll start over there, I'll start over here. 4 back, gives her a chance to get over here, and then step left. It's at a little bit of an angle and back your foot, step. So again, that gives you a little more stability. Step, lift, step, balance, step, bounce. Okay, here we go with the beginning of the music. 4 backward. 1, 2, 3, 4. Step, keep going. Sometimes it's really good to have help and have a team of people doing this, because then they can remind me that, oh, one of the good things for me, and it might be for you, is to get a little
that little extra energy through that vocalization that we were doing.
Yes.
She started doing it the other day. I was
So,
like, yeah, that's a shoo, ha, shoo, ha, shoo, ha, shoo, ha, shoo, ha, shoo.
could be that, just that little extra that you get that keeps you
It's
going
very
and gets you-
correct.
Yeah, gets you into the music. Thank you, Kari. The 5th segment, or 5th maneuver that we have in Folklore Gangar 21 is a backward twirl. And it comes after the backward step lift. And I'd like to break it down for you and show you. But first I'm going to just show how it works in practice. So it's stepping. You can see my skirt gets a little bit of air. So we're going to be twirling backward like that. So let's break it down. And the way to break it down is similar to the backward step lift, with a little more toe that's going on. So we're going to step back and 2 and. So back with the left, 1, 2 and back, 2 and back and up, 2 and down to get up, down, down, up, down, down, up, down. Coming at you now though. Up, down. So we're going to use, and if that's too much down and up for however your knees and ankles work, you can modify or adapt the dance so that maybe it's a smaller step. So 1, 2 and 1, 2 and 1. But I like the big. And you also get a bigger twirl out of more down and up, of course. Let's try that much with music, and we'll do 16, beginning of the music, and we'll just do the backward twirl, but in a straight line. Step back, 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 1, 2, and 1. That was a nice little segment of the music. Then let's modify it just a little bit to start getting some of the twirl into it. So here's our center of our circle again, and we'll be trying something like this. So stepping just a little bit behind that right foot. So step 2 and 1, 2 and 1, 2 and 1, 2 and. So rather than going backward in a straight line, we're getting used to, okay, we're going to be heading in a little bit different direction. And one more thing is to step 2 and now here's where that balance or weight shift comes into play again. So our weight is bend on our left when we step back, and then we're going to step all our weight on our right, 2 and we're going to give just a little bit of a embellish, just a little bit of an embellish to our left foot as we're going back.
Would you call that like a little bit of a pushing off with the left?
Yeah,
Is it
Kari,
kind of a,
yeah.
yeah.
So, yes, so rather than, yes. instead of just lifting, but there's that kraft, that energy that's pushing you backward. So if you just step, because you can just, of course, step in place, but if you push off with your left and back onto your right toe. So a lot of things to think about, a lot of elements in this maneuver, but once you get it, of course, like many other things, it's very fun. Let's try from the beginning of the music, and we'll do at least 8, 16 around the center, clockwise, backwards. And these little maneuvers in the dance we refer to as ornamentation or embellishments, because we've been dancing, that's our basic step, but now we want to embellish a little bit. I was looking for other words besides embellish, ornament, fertilize. So make the dance bloom. Okay, that was a little different, but let's begin the music. 1, 2, 2. Until finally, so we've gone through all our building steps to get to the actual backward twirl ornament. So then this is our center, but now we're going to be the center as we step, push off, step, push, step, push off, step, pivot, or push off. So we push off to a pivot. Let's give that a try. And it's too many twirls, just come right out of it and into the forward step, get grounded again, and then, and these maneuvers can be put together in a number of different ways or any way you want, but we do have a specific Folklore Gangar 21 for us all to be able to dance alone together. How did the dance get from Hjartdal in Telemark to Minneapolis, Minnesota? Well, how did any of these immigrants get from Telemark to Minnesota? And I wanted to talk just a little bit about that, because my dad and the Tortvedt family did have much in common about their immigration experience. Even though the Tortvedts came in the 1860s, my dad came in 1924 when he was 27. The particular talent that he brought was his dancing from Telemark, and that is what he has passed down to me. So that's the tradition and the legacy that he has brought to me. Other things in common that my dad and the Tortvedts had, for example, they immigrated twice essentially. First they immigrated to a farming community, Tortvedts to Houston County, my dad to Northwood, Iowa, and then that wasn't quite satisfactory. They immigrated again. The Tortvedt family went to Clay County and the Red River. My dad ended up in Minneapolis. He didn't want to be on a farm after he'd been on a farm all his life, so he ended up in Minneapolis with the other people who wanted to dance and who wanted to be social. Another of the overlaps between Tortvedts and my dad, Harold K. Sersland, is the Telelag, and there were the traditions that they missed from their home country, and particularly that region that they came from. So Tortvedts were instrumental in starting the Telelag, which is an organization, so all the people from Telemark can come together for at least one weekend in the summer and spend time talking in their dialect, wearing their bunadet, and church services, of course. And then my dad in the late 1970s was also very enthusiastic about getting the telelogue going again. So he did that with a number of others from here in the region and from western Minnesota, essentially where the torch vets were from. So, and then as there were many things that they brought with them, the traditions or the imagery, and if you go to Norway, you'll see these same images at the churches over in Norway. I thought this was very interesting about Houston County, where they have the hills and the forest nearby and the farms in the valley, which is very much like the terrain and the communities in Telemark. So that's how this dance got to me here in Minneapolis. And then I am so pleased to be sharing this dance with all of you, that Kari is working with me to share this, that my dad was invited by the Smithsonian Institution to dance at their Folklife Festival, and many
Wasn't
other.
it the very first Folklife Festival that they did? Was it the first or second?
Well, it was the bicentennial.
Bicentennial.
Yes.
And you danced with your father
Yes.
at that. And we have some film clips of that somewhere?
Somewhere we do.
All right.
To wrap it up, Kari and I would like to do the entire Folklore Gangar 21, and we'll call it, we'll count it, and we'll finish up today with the entire. So again, listen to that music as you're watching us dance Gangar. Thank you, and we'll see you at the next session.